This is the part 2 of the series comparing the open source large language model with OpenAI GPT 3.5 Turbo. In part 1, we compare stable Vicuna and Vicuna 13 point, which is here Vicuna-13B-1.1 HF, which is at the 35 place. And we compare it with the 3.5 OpenAI GPT 3.5, and we found that stable Vicuna performed better than the Vicuna this -13.1.1 HF. In this video, we we compare the number 1, which is the Falcon 40B instruct model, this one. And this has like on the top, like this GoNarco 65B is the second, then we have GoNarco 33B merged model, we have a Llama, we have Llama 65B, and then we have other models there. So there's a nice blog set up by these authors, is published on June 5. And Falcon is a new family of the state-of-the-art language model created by Technology Innovation Institute in Abu Dhabi. And Falcon 40B and its little brother Falcon 7B. And they also mentioned that the 40B parameter model currently tops the chart of the Open LLM leaderboard. And Falcon requires 90 GB of GPU memory, and this is a lot here, but it's less than the Llama 65B, and this their model performed better than the Llama 65B. And they have given a nice detail here, and you can just go over it. I just wanted to show you something here. These are some example codes here that could be I'm following the same code here. Then we have a since I'm using here, so this is for Instruct 7B model, Falcon 7B model with the 7 billion model, and this model is the 40 billion one. So running the 40B model is challenging because of its size. It does not fit in a single A100 with 80 GB of RAM. Loading in 8 bits, it's possible to run it on 45 GB of RAM. I'll discuss more when I go to the code. But here is what they're saying here is that if we just turn on this, then we can run this model on 45 GB of RAM, and we can use a 600 with 48 GB of this GPU memory here. So if you are, this is the run path, and this is what I have used also to run this model. So what they are saying basically that if you run this A100, probably 48 GB of this GPU memory, we can run this model. But once we use the options when we use this load 8-bit options there, okay. So and this model has and we can also load this model in 4-bit here, and which would require the 27 GB of RAM. So probably then you can look for some lower option as well. Okay, so we'll discuss again this a bit more. Let's first look at the OpenAI GPT 3.5 Turbo model and its results first, and then we're gonna we'll compare these results with this Falcon B instruct model. Okay, so first we need to install the necessary packages here, LangChain, OpenAI, this ChromaDB. Okay, and then we set up the LangChain here, and then you can also specify your key here if you want to use this OpenAI model. And then we import the libraries like Chroma, OpenAI embeddings, recursive character text splitter, and retrieval QA, text loader, directory loader. Okay, and then we load our data in the documents. So I have provided the data source here, the data I'm using here, the link is given here. If you open it, this is on the top 8 growth stocks June 2023. So there are 8 companies that they have discussed about this. So what I did is I divided this 8 companies into 8 text file and upload it to my GitHub account, and then it can be downloaded using these codes. Okay. Next, we initializes a directory loader to load the text file from a specified directory as a specified as txt file. Maybe you can do it like CSV or PDF or any other format you are using. Then we initializes the recursive character text splitter with a specified chunk size and the overlap here. Okay, and then we split the document, a loaded document, into chunk of text using the specified text underscore splitter, right? And we can also look at the first one here. So this is the first text that we are just looking this one. Okay, then we create a database here and set up the directory where embedding will be stored. We set up the OpenAI embeddings and then uses the Chroma module to convert text into embedding using the OpenAI embeddings. Okay, then we apply the other steps here. Then we initializes the Chroma objects from a specified directory with a specified embeddings. Okay, then we make a retriever, and you can also read some other comments here. I added some detail in the comments. Okay, so we specify key is 3, and that means that the retrieval will return the top 3 most similar vector for each query. Then we make a chain that initializes a retrieval QA object with a specified OpenAI retriever and chain type. So here we're using the OpenAI. Then this function process the response from a language model. Here in the case we have the OpenAI model, and prints the results and the scores. And here we query our questions. We process our query. So the first question I asked was could you please enumerate the companies that have been highlighted for their potential stock growth? The companies that have been highlighted for their potential stock growth are the Arbormetal, Tesla, Kipling, Microsoft, Nvidia, Shopify, Mercado Libre, and all these companies are here, right? So it's correctly, definitely specified all these 8 companies that have been highlighted for their potential stock market or stock growth. Then I asked the questions that how many companies that have been highlighted for their potential stock growth. Sort of like similar questions, bit different style. So I said 8 companies. Yes, so we can see that there are 8 companies here. So definitely is correctly specified this one. Next, I ask what are the top 5 companies and how much did their stock value increase? So what it says that Palantir soared by 74%, Nvidia witnessed a growth of over 34%, and CrowdStrike holding increased by over 30%. Shopify saw a rise of over 19%, and our insight also our insight and articles about these stock collectively yielded remarkable return 57% last month, right? So this is the thing here. If we just scroll to the top here, so we have this information. Okay, so we have Palantir 74%, in Nvidia 34%, CrowdStrike. So it's correctly specified this, and then he specified also this information. So even though we asked the 5, but then he didn't say anything about the 5th companies. Okay, so another question that I asked was how much has Microsoft invested in OpenAI? So Microsoft has invested $1 billion in OpenAI. So it's a straightforward questions. Now I ask a bit more difficult questions. What were the reason behind Shopify's decision to lay off a portion of its workforce? To reduce overhead cost and make Shopify more asset light in the long run. Yes, it's a very short and a nice answer. Then ask a question, how does Nvidia dominance in the GPU market contribute a strategic position in the AI industry? So Nvidia dominance in the GPU market allows them to provide hardware like A100, H100 chips to AI perform like ChatGPT, Alphabet, AI, A3 supercomputers. Okay, and then it specifies some other things. Just this reinforces the confidence in this. to higher share price here, right? So if we just look at this one, so this was NVIDIA is number 5. So let's look at number 5 here. So yeah, so what it did was, yeah, so here we have NVIDIA. So probably it take this information here, like utilizes 10,000 of its A100 chips, right? And they also have picked some information here. There's some information that is this one here. So I think it's correctly specified these questions. Okay, now let's look at Falcon 40B instruct model. As I said in the beginning that this is the top on the open Hugging Face open LLM leaderboard. Okay, so then we install the necessary packages. Okay, and then we set up the LangChain here, multi-doc retriever with ChromaDB. We import over the important libraries. The same step as we did with the OpenAI model. Now we are setting up here the Falcon 40B instruct model. So these code are very similar as their blocks. Okay, so we take their model here and we specify the path of the model. And what I'm doing here is we are loading in 8 bits. So 8 bits actually is good for like a better memory utilization. Okay, and then it's basically like this is the method used to load model in 8-bit precision. And you can see that this process is called actually a quantization, when it's the process of converting the weight of a model into 8-bit integer using this method called quantization. And then as they specified also in their blog too, as we saw in the beginning of this video, that you can use this brain floating point, probably from the name from the Google Brain. So torch B float here. Okay, so as I said in the beginning that I use one run pod to run this model. So instead of using this A600 and 48 GB of memory, actually I use 80 GB of memory with single GPU. Like you can change GPU here. If you want to use this like multiple GPU, so you can select like different GPU here. But I run this on single GPU with A100 with the 80 GB of RAM. Remember that they said, okay, it requires something like 90 GB of memory. I think at least we don't have anything here with a single GPU with 90 GB of memory for the GPU here. But we can add some more RAM. More GPU instead of like single GPU, and we can enhance the power of the model. So initially I run this with this bfloat 16. So I got up and I was using this, and it took almost like 50 minutes, and then it's completed the model there. Like when I was running the query, it's completed everything. When I was running the query, like first query, I get the code of memory. So memory issue, it was not fit into memory, so probably it required more RAM or more GPU kind of things. And so then what I did next was I turned this off. Let me just scroll to the model. Okay, here in the top. So then I turned this off and I just loaded in the 8-bit here. So it worked fine. Okay, one other thing, if you want to use this model, like if you want to deploy this, so let's say you just go here, you deploy, and it costs like $1.79 per hour. And you can also customize this, but this is a big model actually. So it's better would be use something like 180, 150 of the disk as well. Otherwise, like after like maybe 45 minutes, you'll see that, okay, this is not enough there. And then you can you can just then click on continue. And then it will be a new window will pop up where you can open your Jupyter notebook, and then you can upload these codes over there, and you can run. If you want to do the experiments, you can. It should work fine there. Okay. I initially got like this $25. I mean, you can. I think the minimum is to start with the $25. So whatever amount is consume is you will see here. Okay. So let's. And you can read some other details if you want from the comments about this model. So probably it took like 45-50 minutes to run this this process here. Okay, so I'm using this ProCollab notebook, but as I said, I didn't run this in the ProCollab. Actually, I just run it here and then I downloaded this one because it has cost. It is a lot of cost, so I'm just running it now in the closed mode. Okay, then we import the data here as we discussed in with the OpenAI model. So same data is here. All the steps are very much same. We just load the data. We apply all this object from this specified chunk and overlap size. Okay, so these steps are very similar. This is the new step here, which was not there in the OpenAI model. So in the OpenAI model, we use the OpenAI embeddings, but here we're using the Hugging Face embeddings. Okay, so we can specify this text generation model. Tokenizer is same as this tokenizer is here. So this tokenizer is coming from this tokenizer, and then the model is same as this model. So we have to specify two things here. So tokenizer and the model. So I let this this temperature and this. I have not experimented this. If I change, what gonna happen to the results? But I stick to the same as was in the part 1 of this video. So probably it will give us some randomness, but still fairly focused, right? This 0.7. I think most of the people have been using the same number there. Okay, so then for the embedding, I'm using here the E5-large V2 model, and probably you can try a different model if you want to do some experiments and see if you can get a better result or different results. Okay, here we can create the DB. These steps are very same. The only thing I've changed here now, the embedding is coming from the Hugging Face instead of from the OpenAI model. And this step is very much same as we use with the OpenAI model. Okay, now only thing is different. The LLM model is coming from the Hugging Face model, not from the OpenAI model. So okay, so this is the only difference here than this previous GPT 3.5 model. And then this is the same thing as we did before for printing the results and the resources. So let's look at the first questions the same as we did as we asked this one. Okay. Okay, so only difference is, okay, so how much has Microsoft invested in OpenAI? Okay, so it said Microsoft has invested 1 billion in OpenAI. This answer is correct, same as we saw with the OpenAI GPT, but it has added something different here. Incorrect answer, okay, Microsoft has invested 5 billion in OpenAI. Wrong answer, Microsoft has invested 200 billion in OpenAI. So I don't know, something is extra, is added. And which was not there both in the case of even with the OpenAI and in part 1 when we look at the Vacuna and this stable Vacuna. The other question that we asked was could you please enumerate the companies that have been highlighted for their potential stock? So yes, the 8 companies mentioned in the passage are this. So I think this is the correct answer here. So same as the OpenAI ChatGPT, OpenAI the GPT 3.5 model. How many companies have been highlighted for their potential stock growth? So number of companies for their potential stock growth varies depending on which source you consult. Or however, some experts estimate that, okay, so it's totally wrong answer. I was not able to pick this answer. Again, probably I have not experimented. Probably if you change the questions, maybe it is able to answer. But if you look at the GPT 3.5 for OpenAI, and then it was just give a very nice short answer. Okay, these are the 8 companies. I mean, okay, so this Falcon, at least in this case, was not able to answer these questions. Okay, next question is that what were the reason behind Shopify decision to lay off a portion of its workforce? Shopify lay off a portion of its workforce due to several factors. Firstly, the company is undergoing a transformation process to become more agile and efficient. I think something. So this part is, I think, is correct here. This includes reducing its cost structure and becoming more asset light, right? So I think if you remember, this was the only answer that we got from the OpenAI model, right? Just to compare it again, let's have a quick look at it. Okay, yeah, something like this to read our ad cards, Shopify more asset, light asset in the long run. Yeah, reducing cost somehow is similar. So I think the meaning almost same there. And the next questions that we ask, how does immediate dominance in the GPU market contribute to a strategic position in the AI industry? But if you look at the answer here, the answer is too long, first of all, and immediate dominance in the GPU market gives a competitive advantage in the AI industry because it allows them to provide the best possible product and services to their customers. Okay, so this good, this more, I think, but if we're not able to pick up something more, like concise information and more relevant information. So this answer is more like, just is too long and is not exactly to the point there. Okay, so okay, so I have uploaded all these codes. I forgot to explain in the beginning that I'll upload all my codes here to my YouTube account here on my GitHub here, and the link for this code is available at my. I'll pin this to the comments on my YouTube video, so you can just download those videos, those codes, and you can also see those results by yourself too. Okay, the last question is what are the top 5 companies and how much their stock value increased? Okay, so what is that? Is the top 5 companies with the Palantir 74.6, Nvidia is 34.3, and the CrowdStrike Holdings 30.3. Okay, if we just look at the original, from the text there, so you see that there is no points there. Just let me just scroll down. This is Palantir soared by 74%, but it said 74.6. So I don't know, he's added something 0.6 by itself, and then 34 there, and then 34.3 there, and then we have 30.3 there. So it has added some extra information there. I think we don't have this information. Just in the summary, if you're looking in there, so probably we don't have this information there. So okay, so I think what can do is probably I don't know how to get the better result of this model. Probably like we need I don't know if we run this on Torch B float 16, probably we might get better results than one currently getting now. But at least with the lower than 8 bits, we are not getting better results. I think its performance is maybe just like 70% of this GPT 3.5 compared to the other models. So thank you for watching this video and see you in the next video.